Hey everybody, Dave here. So I'm making a video to kind of respond to Rawcritics' video that he had posted talking about possibly the possibility of like a Star Citizen-esque economy that might replace in some parts the economy that they had in Star Wars Galaxies, which was a game MMO back from, I think he said it was 2003. Now, I never played Star Wars Galaxy. At the almost the exact same time Final Fantasy XI had released, and I was like totally enthralled with that, and I'd spent all my time playing that. But I don't know. I just wanted to. He was hoping to open like a dialogue about the economy or whatever, and it's something that's interested me a lot in Star Citizen and honestly most of the games that I play. I mean, my first PC game that I played was SimCity, and from then I've always been interested in the economy aspect of stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong, Star Citizen's great for like the ship-to-ship combat and even the FPS mechanics and combat and stuff, but the economy and the non-combat roles like engineering is definitely something that I'm far more interested in myself. So yeah, not having played Star Wars Galaxy, I don't have a whole lot to add as far as what he said. As far as that aspect of the game goes, I did kind of want to like, I don't know, compare and or agree as far as what I enjoyed with Final Fantasy XI. If you've never played Final Fantasy XI, it had a very, I don't know, it came out in I think 2002 in Japan and then here in the US in 2003, and it had a very similar crafting system from what it sounds like, where it was super in depth and super detailed, and you could set up like what they would call bazaars. I think it was bazaars, and it was essentially like a garage sale on your person. So you'd have this flag that popped up over your head, and somebody could walk up and then browse your wares that you had for sale. And a lot of people would sit in a town or outside of a town and just kind of go AFK, selling their wares and whatnot. And it was really cool to see. So different towns would actually add a tax to what you were selling. So if you sold something for, 100 gold in the game, at the time I think it was called Gil or something like that. I don't remember what the currency was called. That they would add a tax to it. And so what people started doing is they would actually set up outside of the city, and people could go and like browse through their wares. So it was kind of cool to like walk up to a city, and before you even get into the town, before you loaded into that zone, there was anywhere between 50 and maybe 100 different people just parked there, and you could like go up to them and talk to them and then like browse through their wares and whatnot. And it definitely brought back a lot of memories, him talking about Star Wars Galaxies and the way that games used to be. I mean, the MMOs that I've definitely played the most would have been Final Fantasy XI, and then also World of Warcraft. And WoW was so much different on so many different levels, and I didn't play it near as long because I didn't really enjoy the game style of it. But anyways, I'm getting a little bit distracted here. So I want to talk about the economy in Final Fantasy XI in what I thought he had some good points on. As far as Final Fantasy XI, there was a lot of different qualities for the stuff you can manufacture, and there was so much detail into it. So it wasn't like in WoW where you just mine some ore nodes and then you go and you have this profession, or someone else has a profession, jewel crafting or smithing or whatever, and you start making weapons, and that was pretty much it. You get the pattern for it, and that was the big deal. Final Fantasy XI, I mean, you could go and buy recipes, and recipes dropped off of world mobs and stuff like that. But you also had like a chance to fail at crafting things, and then also the quality of the materials that you used, and also your skill level determined not only the chance of failure or succeeding, but then also how good of a quality that item would be. In the case I can think of is like if you were a carpenter and you had some fine quality wood that someone had brought you, then you could use that to make a bed that you would put in your home, and depending on the quality of the bed, if it was like a +1 or a +4, I think was the maybe +5 was the highest, I can't remember now, that would change different stats. And you could furnish your home, beds, chairs, fireplaces, potted plants, all kinds of stuff, and that would change your stats as you walked around the world, doing different things. And it was a cool aspect to the game. I really liked it. And it even went as far as like if you planted a plant in your garden or in your pot that you could have a bunch of them that would make up a garden, depending on what day you planted the seed, what type of seed there was, and some people even speculated at the time what direction you were standing when you planted the seed, it would alter the plant that grew and the quality of materials that you got out of that plant when it grew. And so there was like, there could be like this whole division of people that were devoted to just growing plants in the game. And I don't know, it added a lot to the game, it added a lot to the economy, and it made it really interesting. It wasn't just here, collect this, craft this. You know, I ended up with 48,000 pairs of boots because I wanted to level my leatherworking or whatever, and now I'm just going to go sell them to an NPC down the road, you know, for a freaking copper each or whatever. So that was kind of like Final Fantasy, definitely an old school MMO. Doesn't seem to be the norm nowadays. I kind of wish it was still, but it is what it is. So how does that compare with like Star Citizen? Well, I've been following Star Citizen since I think the Kickstarter was 2011, and I was an original Kickstarter backer. I picked up an Aurora, and I was totally stoked about it. I don't know. And I followed it for a month or two, and then once the Kickstarter ended, I kind of lost interest and let it sit for a year or so, and then I picked it back up, and I've been following it since. And I've watched, as far as I know, 99% of the videos they've put out from Chris, as far as the 10 for the Chairman, the weekly ATVs. I don't get all the subscriber stuff and all that. I signed up for a while. So, I mean, they put a lot of content out, which props to them for that, but there's definitely some stuff I've missed. But I try to stay up on it and pay attention. So, as far as a response to his video and how Star Citizen hopefully will have an economy, I don't want to discourage you, but it sounded like you were kind of a newer person to it, and don't hold your breath. So originally when the game came out in Kickstarter, it was a vastly different game just because of the funding levels and the, I don't know, feature creep or whatever you want to call it. And so there definitely was not this giant plan to have, as far as I know, everything that they're going to have now. And so that's one thing about Star Citizen. It's slowly evolved, you know, over like the last year or two or 3 or 4. You know, and 2 years ago where they said, hey, we're going to have fully explorable procedural planets, and we've been like, well, yeah, that'd be nice someday, but definitely won't happen before the release in 2019 or whatever. And here we are, we're going to be playing on those planets when 3.0 drops here in just a few months. Fingers crossed. So, you know, this is not saying it won't happen, it can't happen, but from what we know so far, here's where we're at. We know that there's not going to be a huge amount of crafting in the game. You're going to be able to collect ore off of, you know, there's going to be mining from asteroids. And I don't know if they're going to have stuff like comets in the game. Comets. So far, I haven't heard anything about it, but definitely asteroid mining. That's going to be a big profession. There's going to be trading with like ship hauling and whatnot. And then there's going to be repairing your ship and all kinds of different stuff like that. They won't have traditional crafting in the sense where as far as I know, it's not going to be like, oh, well, I collected this amount of ore, or I killed this animal, this NPC animal on this planet, and so now I'm going to make myself a cool jacket. You'll collect ore, you'll turn them into vendors. You might even, at one point in time, they talked about having factories that players could own, and I haven't heard anything about that in a long time. So how that fits into the current view of Star Citizen, you know, who knows? And what would player factories look like? You know, would it just be factories for, you know, turning out stats like, oh, I produce X amount of wing parts, but then nobody actually physically sees the wing parts? We don't know. Let's see here. So where was I? All right, lost my train of thought there. Totally got derailed. All right, so getting back to like as far as the crafting in the game, at one point in time we kind of figured there wasn't going to be a whole lot of crafting, if any, and it was just a matter of kind of resource collecting and transferring, you know, materials back and forth, hauling, trading, stuff like that, some salvage, and that was, as far as I know, the plan for quite a while. Well, then I think it was about a year ago, this time last year, they announced the Endeavor, which is a very interesting ship in the way that it's a huge, I don't know, like, what's that movie? I'll think of it here in a second. All right, so it's this, yeah, I had to like totally look it up. It's been a long time. So the ship looks like it's off the Event Horizon sort of ship. It's super long, and you can have different detached modules on it. So you can have like a hangar that you can put on it, like a farming biome sort of thing. And then one of them is, I think they call it a particle collider or a hadron collider, something like that. And the idea there is that you can put parts into it. And when they say parts, I'm thinking more like components. So if you have a shield generator for your ship or an engine or something, you can put it in there, maybe mix some stuff in with it, and then get a higher quality output of it. So one thing to think about with the StarCitizen Economy that I'm 99% sure this is the way Chris is thinking and the way he wants the game to go and progress, is that in a normal MMO or an RPG sort of game, normally your person is your character, and that's what you progress. You get levels with your character, you build a name for your character, you collect clothing items, and you upgrade clothing and weapons on your character. But in Star Citizen, it'll be your ship. So you'll have a ship, and you won't be swapping out ships every single day. You'll kind of get that ship. I mean, obviously people are going to have lots of ships and stuff, but you will upgrade the weapons on it, and that's kind of what you will invest yourself and your time in, is the ship itself. And hopefully they'll have some longevity, wear and tear on it, and it'll kind of have its own character in itself. And so with that, it's so since the Endeavor came out, and it's like, okay, well, now we can kind of tweak parts and pieces and components. What else is there, And so that's what I mean, is like Star Citizen is this ever-changing amoeba, and I don't want to call it feature creep, because that's not fair. I mean, feature creep is one of those things where I feel it's like a game, an indie game development company where they can't quite reach their goals, and they're like, well, this is super buggy, but check this out, we're totally going off in this other direction. And some of that could feel like it with Star Citizen. I mean, here at Gamescom, no one would have said, oh yeah, player housing is a thing. And then Chris makes this offhanded remark about, oh, well, you might have homesteads, customized homesteads. It's like, what does that mean? Am I going to be able to put a base out on this procedural planet wherever I want? Am I going to be able to build my own base? Part of me hopes that's true, and part of me says, the part of me that's played games like Rust and whatnot, where people have built their own houses, I don't really want to land on a planet and have like this giant boxy penis jetting up into the atmosphere because somebody decided to build something that looked like that. So, I don't know. CIG is a smart company; they'll do good stuff, I think. But like I said, no one knows really where the game's going to go, what the economy is going to look like. I would love to have a really super in-depth economy where, I can mine stuff, I can farm stuff, I can do all kinds of different things, trade with people, set up my little shop up on this, not even a moon, but this planet way off in the outer rim somewhere that has Vanduul attacking every now and then, and, and I've got my trade shop or whatever, and we get attacked, and, then the, UEC or whatever, they have their army come in, and, their armada, and start pushing the Vanduul back out of the system. I don't know, stuff like that. It's gonna be cool. So nobody can say anything for sure. I don't even, this response video is not really probably helping anybody at all, but I felt like making something about it. And I don't know, it's really interesting to me. I kind of wish they would cover more stuff in the economy. They've got these big printouts of like, how they're gonna handle repair and what the dev ideas behind it are. But I haven't really seen anything as far as the economy goes, and I'm not sure if they not fleshed it out that much yet. I don't know. It's hard to say. Maybe they have. It's just sitting in a giant, thick binder somewhere in the back corner. Or maybe they don't have it figured out themselves. They're trying to figure out what they can do with their, with their technology and whatnot. But I don't know. This game is amazing. I'm totally stoked about it. Like I said, I've been following this thing since 2012, and I can still wait. If this was, I read this thing on the forum the other day, where if this was Elder Scrolls and they had started building the games at the exact same time, then neither game would come out till 2019, because that's how long it took to make Elder Scrolls. And I don't know. I'm patient. I'm very excited where things are going. 3.0 is going to be awesome. The biggest thing is the netcode rework. I tried to play 2.5, and it's so laggy. It just kind of takes some of the fun out of it. It's like you can kind of go on and mess around for a while, but then all of a sudden you glitch out of your ship and it goes flying off somewhere, and you spent 2 hours trying to, I don't know. It is what it is. But yeah, 3.0. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope Rawcritics enjoyed the response, and yeah, let's keep this talking. Maybe CIG will see something and say something. All right, talk to you guys later.